Hey, welcome into the Big Ten Huddle. I'm your host, JR, and we are going through the quarterback grading here of the quarterbacks in week 3 of the Big Ten. So essentially, this is a very casual episode, and this is one where I'm going to kind of take you through my process a little bit of how I grade these quarterbacks. Now, I've already done some of the research and stuff for this, but I'm going to take you through the kind of PFF part of it. I've not looked at PFF for these guys yet, other than looking at their grades. I went through and looked at their grades because I want to start from the lowest graded to the highest graded players in the Big Ten for their PFF grades, because I think that's a more fun way to organize this show. But I've not looked kind of into some of the deeper stuff and things like that. So I'm going to show you the PFF stuff for these guys. Just the Big Ten quarterbacks, and like I said, we'll go from the lowest in week 3 graded, and this is the offense grade. There is a passing grade, just that, but I like to do the offense one because I think it entails the running and other stuff like that, which is important for some of these quarterbacks, that you make sure you get in there as well, that we're going to do too. So if you're watching on YouTube, you're going to be able to see the screen next to me where you can see everything for all these players and their profiles for week 3. And then if you're listening on podcast, I'll do my best to voice what I see and kind of go through, and I'll give you my grade for each one of these guys. I kind of already have it in my mind what I thought about them, and I might reference some of the stuff of their game, but I'm really going to keep this primarily to the PFF stuff. So my grade will not always line up with the PFF grade, because I don't think PFF is always completely accurate, but I do think it's a really good grading system, and it can really help you to do some of this stuff. So without further ado, let's start with the lowest graded quarterback in the Big Ten in week 3, and that was one Preston Stone over at Northwestern. So let's take a look at Preston Stone here. If you look here, Frank Covey, he's actually graded out higher in the passing, but it was Preston Stone. So I'm going to go and put Preston Stone at the top here just to make it easier for us. But Preston Stone in the game, 11 for 21. He dropped back 27 times. He only threw the ball 21 times. We'll see how many of those were sacks, but 135 yards, 6.5 yards per attempt, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. This is not going to be a good grade. Now, I did have 2 big-time throws, which is good, but those were pretty much negated by 3 turnover-worthy passes. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the key here, so that way you guys know. Turnover-worthy plays, not turnover-worthy passes. Turnover-worthy plays, a pass that has a high percentage chance to be intercepted, or a poor job of taking care of the ball and fumbling. So one of those two together, a turnover-worthy play, obviously a big downgrade, and it's an interesting stat because not every poorly thrown ball is picked off, and you don't always see it in the box score. And these turnover-worthy plays do not always coincide with your interceptions. Like sometimes, and we might see this later on, you might get an interception from a quarterback in the game, but he didn't have any turnover-worthy plays, right? It was somebody else on the team, whether it was a tip ball or he dropped it or it hit him in the back of his helmet and popped up, whatever it might be that does that. So let's go ahead and look at the ADOT, average depth of target. That differs from the yards per attempt, because that is literally how far from the line of scrimmage the ball traveled to wherever it went. So if a guy runs a 9-yard curl route, then it's going to be a 9-yard average depth of target. It's not the exact yardage from where the ball is thrown to where the guy catches it. Sometimes I think that gets a little misconstrued there. But from the line of scrimmage to where the ball is thrown and where it would land or where it's caught, that's the depth of target. So 1 drop for Preston Stone. That doesn't really matter all that much for the for the grade, because he had so many that didn't work out. And then 3 sacks. He was sacked 3 times in the game. He scrambled 3 times. What's that DPR there? The DPR is total pressures of the passer of any kind generated by the defense. So yeah, not a great day for Preston Stone. We can also go to look at the pressure and the depth. What was he like? Under pressure, he was actually his highest graded. 7 dropbacks, 3 pass attempts, only 1 completion. See, this is the part where it's like kind of hard to trust these PFF grades. He was 1 for 3, and he dropped back 7 times, but apparently that's his best graded part. But it is what it is. I'm not going to get into everything about the PFF grades, but that's one of the reasons why I don't grade just off of this stuff. But they blitzed him 9 times in this game, and he threw the ball 7 of those 9 times. He had his turnover-worthy throws. Each time he was kept clean when he had his turnover-worthy plays. That's not great. So look at the chart here. He did have 2 deep balls. I remember those, but nothing in that 10 to 20 yard range. These 10 to 20 yard ranges right here, if you listen to Zach Smith on Minnesota Sports, those are what he calls like the NFL type of throws. He was a former college coach, so I tend to believe he knows what he's talking about. But he talks about these kind of be like those NFL throws. That kind of shows that you're ready for the league, and some of the throws that you make in the league when you have time or when you're on time and you're hitting those throws accurately with good arm strength too. So I'm not going to deviate too much here from the PFF grade from what I saw in the game and from what I'm seeing here on the stats and everything else. Not a good game from Preston Stone, and he gets an F. So I guess you can call me a hard grader if you want, but yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and give him the F in this one. All right, the next lowest graded quarterback was, and now remember, Washington did not play in week 3, so there's only 17 quarterbacks, but the next lowest, 16th quarterback was Danny O'Neal. Not a great day for Danny O'Neal. The offensive grade, 11 of 17, 117 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Both those interceptions line up with the turnover-worthy plays. His ADOT was 8.9. Really, you like for that ADOT to be like above 10. That's kind of the area where you want to keep it at. He was sacked 4 times in that game. Alabama really came at him with the pass rush, and not great. Not the sacks aren't always on him, but yeah, not great. He had to scramble 5 times in the game as well. Danny O'Neal, I'm not going to change his grade for it, but he didn't necessarily – he was not put in a position to be able to do very much in this game. He had 1 deep ball, 41 yards on the left side. He was under pressure 14 of his 26 dropbacks in this game. So more often than not, the entire time in the game, he was under pressure, and he really chucked the ball deep in those times when he was under pressure. 12.1 ADOT. Yeah, and he was sacked all 4 of those times that he was under pressure. And all 4 sacks happened when he was not blitzed. That's pretty crazy too. They blitzed 10 of the 26 dropbacks, and the 4 sacks happened all when he was not blitzed. So, and the way they do blitzing in PFF is anytime it's more than 4 guys rush. So it's not like, you drop the defensive line and the linebackers come, oh, that's a blitz. They don't count that. They count more than 4 guys came after the quarterback, which I think is a pretty good way to describe the blitzing, because you have to be consistent with it, and it's just hard to be consistent with other stuff. So, the deep left, he graded highly there. It's in the blue. But so that was his big time throw he had in the game. Obviously, when you're getting pressured like that much, you're not going to have very many big time throws, unfortunately for him. But yeah, didn't play well. Even when he was kept clean, even didn't play well when he was not blitzed. He was probably seeing some ghosts out there. Yeah, Danny O'Neal, I'm going to give him a D in this one. Not a great performance by Danny O'Neal, but at the same time, I'm also not going to put all the blame on Danny O'Neal. So, but he's still going to get the D. All right, Jayden Iamaleava was the 3rd lowest graded. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say I probably am not going to agree with this one, but the 3rd lowest graded. Now, excuse me, he was 17 for 28, 282 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So maybe they're knocking him for maybe missing some touchdown throws or something like that at some point. He did have 3 big-time throws in this game, but that's probably where a lot of this is coming from, is the 3 turnover-worthy plays. Now, he didn't have a single turnover in the game or interception in the game, so that's probably a part of it there. But 3 turnover-worthy plays, didn't throw a single interception. ADOT was 11.7, so they were willing to throw the ball downfield with him, but only sacked once and only had to scramble once. So he had some pretty good protection. Let's go ahead and look at the pressure and depth. He was blitzed 5 of his 30 dropbacks, and he was under pressure in 8 of his 30 dropbacks. So good protection from the offensive line. Good job by him getting the ball out quick and in an efficient way. And when he went deep, he connected a lot. On pass plays of 20 yards or more, he was 5 of 7, but that medium range, that 10 to 19, he was 1 for 6 there. So if he could just improve some of those, intermediate throws, things could have been better. But he did not throw over the middle once. He threw over the middle 3 times in those intermediate throws and only connected on one of them. That was the one. So short over the center. He was 4 for 4. Yeah, it was really those deep balls helping him move the ball down the field. I'm going to favor the deep balls a little bit more on this one. I know he didn't have a great PFF grade, but I'm not going to hold that to him. And if I'm not mistaken, he had a really high QBR. I think his QBR was like in the 90s or something like that. So this is really one of those crazy ones where like the QBR and the PFF are not lining up and the way things were happening. I didn't think Jayden de Laura played bad. Now, I can't give him too great of a grade for 0 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions, and a few turnover-worthy plays in that one. So I am going to have to knock him for some of those. I'll give him a B. I'll give Jayden de Laura a B in this one. They were on the road. I'll give him some credit. And honestly, if you're a USC fan, you probably think he played better than that. Maybe you did. I don't know. I haven't seen the USC fans' reactions very much to Jayden de Laura's game. All right. Next one. Shield your eyes, Penn State fans. It's Drew Allar. Drew Allar had the 4th lowest PFF grade of Big Ten quarterbacks in week 3. Athan Kaliakmanis actually had a higher grade than he did. Is Drew Allar going to lose the job? Did Athan Kaliakmanis steal the job? No, he did not. He passed the ball 2 times. He dropped back to pass twice. All right. Drew Allar, 16 of 29. 209 yards, 7.2 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He had 1 big-time throw, 2 turnover-worthy throws, at 11.1 ADOT. That's a little bit surprising. Feels like sometimes Drew Allar just kind of goes with the underneath stuff a little bit more. And only 1 drop. I believe that was Trevor Pena that dropped that 1 ball. So he was under pressure 5 times. He wasn't sacked any of those times, but he did scramble twice. All right, let's look to the pressure in depth. He threw the ball 20-plus yards 3 times. He threw the ball in that intermediate range 12 times. So he is throwing the ball downfield a little bit more, but he's still a lot of screens, a lot of short stuff to the sides and over the middle, which I'm not going to ding him for. I do think if you're a Penn State fan, you're concerned about too much of that, right? Because that's kind of what he's reverted to. If you're going to see Now that's the hard part with us fans, right? Us fans don't get to see like the all 22 and stuff to be able to know everything that's going on, but some of these other guys do, and maybe you're gonna see some all 22 film this week where you see a wide receiver running down the seam, streaking or something like that. I know the Penn State guy, he put a video out there from something he saw where it looked like the wide receiver was open, and that's the problem right now with Drew Allar. Really is like he's hesitating, right? Like I believe he has to be seeing some of this stuff. He has to be seeing some of these open receivers downfield. He's just too good of a quarterback not to see it. But right now he's just hesitating. And for whatever reason, is thinking maybe the dump off is better. But who knows? Weird situation. Drew Allar, I'll give him not a great QBR in this one either, if I'm not mistaken. I believe his QBR was like less than 20. It's a lower QBR than Danny O'Neal. I don't want to be too harsh, but then again, I can't say it was anything spectacular. C-. We'll go C- with Drew Allar. Now, you know what? C. We'll go C. C for Drew Allar, kind of like average. Like he got the job done, but there was nothing really spectacular in this game that leaves you thinking, this was something amazing or anything. So, yeah, let's go for a C with Drew Allar. So, all right. Next one is Mark Gronowski. Mark Gronowski, 5th lowest PFF grade of Big Ten quarterbacks, and Mark Gronowski improved. He hopped back in this one. So I will be honest, my grade will give a little bit of leeway for Mark Gronowski with how he's been and how he performed in this game. Mark Gronowski, threw the ball 24 times, 16 of 24, 179 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He did fumble, I believe. Yeah, he had a very, very low fumble score there, so he probably had a fumble at some point during the game. But yeah, and that's probably what it was there, turnover-worthy play. So yeah, not great there. The ADOT is still crazy low, but I think with these wide receivers, it almost has to be low, right? Like you're not going to be asking these wide receivers to, go down the seam all that often, and especially with Estranga out right now. You lose a little bit of the confidence in your tight end there as well. They had 4 drops on the day. One of the balls was dropped that Hank Browne threw as well. I'm sure those were more backup guys, but still, yikes. And that's like the hard part too, is like how much credit do you give to Mark Gronowski and how much do you knock the wide receivers as well? Because Iowa's wide receivers are not exactly playing all that well right now either. Sacked twice, 3 scrambles. Let's look at the pressure. All right. He was under pressure 13 of his 29 dropbacks against UMass. Nice. I would be interested to look at the offensive line. You know what? Let's look at the offensive line here. How many of these pressures did they attribute to the offensive line? So he was pressured 13 times. On 13 of his dropbacks, he was pressured. How many pressures do they attribute to the offensive line? 11. Okay, so not all of those are considered the same because you can have multiple pressures from multiple different guys in a single drop back. But, yeah, 3 pressures from Cade Piper. He was a much better run blocker according to grades in this one. Trevor Lauk, the left tackle, not a great showing from him. He allowed 2 pressures. Yeah, the concerning part is it's UMass, right? That's a halfback there. The concerning part is UMass. If this happened against another Big Ten team or something, you kind of shake it off. It is what it is. But this happening against UMass, this much pressure, and not even on Hank Browne, but this much pressure happening on Mark Gronowski is not good. And some of it is Mark Gronowski holds the ball for too long. In fact, I wonder if I could. Yeah, let me do this. Let me go to the. Now I can't look at the individual one for every player, like the individual week for the players. Unfortunately, I can't bring that up for you, but I can look at time in the pocket and set that parameter. Big Ten only. All right, so it'll bring it up here in just a second. Basically, what I want to do is I want to look and see how much time Mark Gronowski has in the pocket this season. I'm going to guess it's probably some of the most in the Big Ten. And then you look at that, you compare that to the pressures that he got in this one, and you might find, that some of these pressures were not, they did not attribute to Mark Gronowski. If it was my eyes, I feel like Mark Gronowski holds on to the ball too long, personally. But, all right, so the quarterback with the most time in the pocket, there you go, 3.37 seconds. Average time to throw is 3.37 seconds. The average time it takes for him to get sacked, Julian Sayin is number 1, Fernando Mendoza. Mark Gronowski's number 6, 4 seconds. That's crazy. 4 seconds or above. Anything over 4 seconds is honestly kind of crazy. Your offensive line is doing really, really good if that's the case. All right, let's go back to time. Yeah. So this all right here, I always like to go to the key. Average time to throw on all dropbacks. So that's the average amount of time he has to throw. If it's less than 2.5 seconds, Mark Gronowski's okay. He said 2 of his touchdown passes were on those. He said 1 turnover-worthy throw. Preston Stone, that's where he's struggling the most. 3 turnover-worthy plays in that one. Let's see. Move to 2.5 seconds or more. The 2.5 seconds or more oftentimes, not always, oftentimes means there's more free working with your quarterback in those time periods normally. So Mark Gronowski, when he's not on schedule, That's when he's not doing very well, according to the PFF grade. One turnover worthy pass, 6 for Preston Stone. Holy cow. Yeah. And he's sacked 5 times, which is tied for 5th most in there. How many guys are getting sacked in less than 2.5 seconds? Luke Altmyer, that tracks. Preston Stone, that tracks. Where's Mark Gronowski? Mark Gronowski was sacked once in less than 2.5 seconds. So, all right, anyway, that was a bit of a going off there. Remembering from what I saw, you know what? Because of Mark Gronowski's improvement and stuff, I still don't love how long he's holding on to the ball. I'm gonna give him a B. He improved, threw for 179 yards, no interceptions, 2 touchdown passes. Yeah, I'll give him a B. So, good QBR too, in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. All right. Next one is the Purdue quarterback, Ryan Browne. Let's go find Purdue. There we are. All right, I gotta get through this quicker. We're spending so much time on all these guys. Ryan Browne, 24 of 39, 305 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. All 3 of those interceptions came in the red zone. I'm honestly surprised this grade is not lower with those coming in the red zone like that. And only two turnover-worthy plays. So they're not even attributing one of those interceptions to him. They're saying it was either on somebody else or just a really good play by the defender. Average depth of target, 7.9. He's been higher than that most of the year, but USC kept him all in front of him. This is the hardest part right here. 21 dropbacks of his 47. He was under pressure. He was sacked 6 times. Yikes. Yeah, the front 7 of USC actually played pretty good in this one. All right, let's go to pressure and depth here. I mean, he's throwing the ball over the middle. Just not connecting all of them, right? 5 of 8, 1 of 3 down the field. So, I mean, I give him props for throwing the ball in the middle, and honestly, he doesn't have all that bad at grades when you look at the kept clean under pressure and then when blitzed, not blitzed. They blitzed him 19 of his 47 dropbacks, and actually he was better graded when he was blitzed than when he wasn't, but he still threw 2 interceptions during that time. So, yeah, interesting situation here. There's some good here, but also I just can't get past the 3 interceptions in the red zone. I'm going to go kind of like Drew Allar. I'm going to give him a C. C here for Ryan Browne. All right. Next, PFF grade, and this one took a substantial leap from 67.4 to 75.3. Give me Aiden Chiles. Aiden Chiles. Aiden. 75.3 offensive grade for PFF. 22 of 29. 270 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Nick Marsh went down in this game as well, so we had to go play without him. Average depth of target was 7.9. Was not sacked in this game, but he was pressured. So that's actually a good props to give to Aiden Chiles. He had a lot of pressure, but he was not sacked in the game. Good on him. He tried to throw the deep ball, but it didn't really work out. Only connected on 1 of the 4 they threw. Threw it in that NFL range more, and that was good. So what's that? 4, 6, 5 of 6 on those. But he loves throwing it over the middle there. The short throw it over the middle stuff. And honestly, when he was under pressure, the grade is not great, but he did well against the blitz. I think I'm going to give Aiden Chiles a good grade here. That's nothing substantial. From how I remember he played the PFF grade. I'm going to give him a B. Another B for one Aiden Chiles. All right, next one, and this is kind of where we're getting to the middle of the pack here. Illinois fans, it's your guy, Luke Altmyer. 16 of 26, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Offensive grade, passing grade were about the same. 0 turnover-worthy plays, 0 big-time throws, but 0 turnover-worthy plays. Did have a drop, average depth of target of over 10. He was sacked twice in this game. That you could honestly kind of attribute No, I'm not going to do that because I didn't do that with other guys. All right, he was sacked twice in the game. All right, 1 for 3 on his deep balls over the middle there. He was, 6 of 7. Impressive. He's the NFL type of throws that I'm talking about with Luke Altmyer in a lot of situations. Being able to throw that ball over the middle, that intermediate range of 10 to 20 yards. That's impressive. He was only under pressure 5 times in this game. Felt like way more than that. He did not get a single completion. He only had 2 attempts when he was under pressure. Yeah, that's crazy. It felt like he was under pressure more than that. But that's what it is. Didn't get a single first down when he was under pressure. Yeah. Play action, no play action. Better on no play action. Probably because he didn't have to worry about faking to hand off the ball and lose precious time. All right. I'm going to give Luke Altmyer a B+ here. Think that's a little bit better than what the PFF indicates. And I liked what I saw for the most part with Luke Altmyer in that game. Felt like it was kind of more on the offensive line than anything else. But, yeah. All right, let's go to the next highest. That is one. Nico Iamaleava. Sorry. Where's it at? There he is. I always look for the yellow. I look for UCLA because the logo I have is yellow. All right. 22 of 34, 217 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 reception. You want to talk about a guy who really cannot stay in his offensive line. That's Nico. 1 big-time throw. 1 turnover-worthy play. 8.7 ADOT, which that's a huge improvement right there. Only 1 turnover-worthy play. Yeah, I mean, this was a blowout, and Nico did not play well. I'm honestly kind of shocked with how high the PFF grade is there. They must just really hate UCLA's receivers. Under pressure, they gave him an 81.1. I don't know. Some of the stuff isn't matching what I feel like I saw. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, Nico is like, he's doing a good job of getting the ball out of bad situations. I don't know. Maybe I'm too hard on him. If the wide receiver, they do have talented wide receiver. UCLA fans told me they did. I don't believe them, but they told me they did. This is honestly where grading gets the hardest because, like, it's not all on that guy, but the offensive line and the wide receivers around him as well. The receivers, not just the wide receivers as well. I'm going to go C-. I'm not going to give him the credit. C- for Nico Iamaleava. All right, next one is Dante Moore with the Ducks. Dante Moore, he's up there at the top. Very good. Means he was the best one that played. Still no Austin Novosad. Hopefully he comes back soon. 16 of 20 attempts, 178 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. 2 big-time throws, 1 turnover-worthy throw. It's not terrible. I guess like talking to his mom or something. Average depth of target, 10.9. Look at the pressure. For one, Dante Moore. Drop back to pass 21 times. He was under pressure. A third of that time, 7 of his dropbacks, he was under pressure. He was blitzed on 6 of his 21 dropbacks. I don't see a whole lot of issue here. B+. B+. I remember him looking good. All right, B+. All right. Who's next? You're like, no, don't pick me. I want to have a low PFF grade. Dylan Raiola, 80.1 PFF grade. These are getting good situations here with the PFF grades. 80.1, 15 of 21, 222 yards, 2 touchdowns on the game. Had a big-time throw, 0 turnover-worthy plays, was not sacked. Really like what I'm seeing here. Connected on both his deep balls. Could have been better over the middle in those intermediates, but he still hit some intermediates on the side. Under pressure, 2 of his 22 dropbacks. It wasn't exactly great, but it was only 2. That's good offensive line play, and that's good communicating with your offensive line. Or maybe his offensive line is just doing it all on their own. That's a possibility. I'm going to give a good grade here for Dylan Raiola. Give me an A. I like a lot of the stuff I see here. Had the deep ball going. I liked what I saw during the game. Yeah. Give me an A here. Indiana fans will hate me, but all right. Let's move on to Drake Lindsay. Drake Lindsay in next highest PFF grade. Surprised they stayed up. Oh, shoot. I can't believe I did that. All right, 80.4 offensive grade, 19 of 32, 205 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. 9.1 average depth of target. Sacked once. This isn't as bad as I thought it would be for Drake Lindsay. 1 of 1 on deep balls. 6 of 8 over the middle. Love that a young quarterback like this is not afraid to go over the middle. 8 years on this earth. Congratulations. Under pressure, 8 of his 33 snaps. So Cal wasn't exactly getting a whole lot of pressure. They brought the blitz on 12 of them as well. But Drake was good. And also what needs to be considered here as well is that Drake had multiple passes that would have been complete if not for the pass interference. So the under pressure here does give some concern, though. 2 of 7, only 4 yards passing under pressure. I mean, the blitz didn't exactly create pressure either time either. So, yep, I'm good with it. I'll give a B for Drake Lindsay. B. All right, now I got to go fix this. I screwed it up. Sorry, guys. All right. There we go. Okay, who'd I bring up next? Bryce Underwood, that's right. Bryce Underwood. See how he did. I'm going to say pretty well. His team won 63-0. Pretty well. All right, 82 offensive grade. He was 16 of 25 for 235 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 1 big-time throw, 2 turnover-worthy plays, 7 pressures on 0 sacks. Yeah, he should have 0 sacks there with his kind of athleticism. All right. Yeah, Bryce Underwood went crazy with the deep ball. How many is that? 8 pass attempts on the deep ball. He had just as many deep ball passes as he had short, kind of underneath passes. Less than 10 yards. Wow, that's crazy. Now, not all of these were great. I mean, he connected on 4 of them, 4 of the 8, but they still weren't all great. You know what? I'll give Bryce Underwood an A-. He was cool and calm under pressure. 3 of 5. Had a touchdown. Yeah, I'm good with that. A- for Bryce Underwood. Okay, next up, just a little bit higher in terms of PFF grade, we have Julian Sayin, Ohio State QB. All right, Julian Sayin, 86.1 offensive grade, 25 of 32, 347 yards. That's really good. 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Not good there. Only 1 turnover-worthy play, so they don't even attribute one of those interceptions to Julian Sayin. He wasn't the one that put it in harm's way. I think that's probably the one where like the ball was tipped up in the air. There's nothing you can really do about that as a quarterback. It just kind of sucks, and you take the toll from it, but it is what it is. 1 sack in this game. He was pressured 8 times. Let's get the pressure in depth. Deep ball, 4 for 4 on deep ball. You love to see that. 4 for 7 on the intermediate. And then he wore 10 of 12 there. So, under pressure for Julian Sayin, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Looks like it also had an interception when he was kept clean as well. That was probably the one. That wasn't his fault. Yeah, it was. The no turnover worthy play right there. Yeah, you can see his average depth of target shifted a little bit. Not all that much, but at least a little bit. I'll give Sayin a B+ here. B+. All right. 3 more left. Let's go with the Rutgers quarterback, Athan Kaliakmanis. That's like, you could have that as like a little chant. All right, then Athan Kaliakmanis, 90.5 PFF grade. That is really good. 18 of 27, 309 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Let's see what else we got going on in the community. We got 3 in the community. There is a... Yeah. So Athan Kaliakmanis, good day. Only sacked once, pressured 3 times. I mean, this is an FCS opponent. This is somebody you should be killing. And honestly, it's kind of crazy that the game was as close as it was there for a little while. He was only under pressure. Athan Kaliakmanis was only under pressure. Not the Rutgers game. Sorry, I was on a different thought process. The Rutgers game wasn't close. Kept clean. He was under pressure. Only 3 of his 31 dropbacks. That's really impressive. 18 of 25 on when he was kept clean. That's when he had the touchdown pass. 3 big time throws in this one. Yeah, maybe I was a little bit lower on Athan Kaliakmanis than I should have been. A-. Let's give him an A-. This is some pretty impressive grading stuff here from PFF. So, all right, Malik Washington and the Purdue guy. There we go. All right. I got to go over here. Malik Washington, 16 of 22, 261 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 93.1 PFF grade. That's really good. 4 big-time throws, 1 turnover-worthy play. He only said he had 7, so maybe you didn't get that one. Wow. 1 drop, 0 sacks. Excuse me. It's also Towson, though. You know. But I don't typically knock guys for that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't give a lot of guys A+ when they play FCS opponents. Wait for the next one that I'm just going to mention. But there are times when it's just so good that, you know, it wasn't just the opponent. It was also them being in the zone and prepping well. So, Malik Washington, I'll give an A- here. Teetering on an A, but an A-. All right. Let's head on over to the Grove Fields. And as we do, I will go through Fernando Mendoza really fast. The final quarterback with the best PFF grade of Big Ten quarterbacks in the week 3. So, yeah, can I have the... Can I have it? No, I can't have it. So, all right, last one. Fernando Mendoza, 94.3 offensive PFF grade, 19 of 20 on the day, 270 yards, 5 touchdown passes. Gets helped out by Omar Cooper Jr. getting his 4 in this one. Fernando Mendoza honestly did not have a big average depth of target, but a lot of this was just getting the ball in Omar Cooper Jr.'s hands. I mean, they went obviously to other guys, but 3 big-time throws. That's huge from Fernando Mendoza. Not sacked. 8 pressures on him. Let's go check out the pressures. Bray Lynch had 2. Zim Mikulski, what are you doing here? Get out of here. Oh, no. He is in Indiana, isn't he? I thought he transferred somewhere else. No. I'm thinking of the Nebraska guy. Yeah, because he went from Notre Dame. Rocco Spindler. I don't know why I got Zim Mikulski and Rocco Spindler mixed up. Yeah. All right. Good day from Fernando Mendoza. Obviously, he destroyed the other team. He threw the ball anywhere and everywhere he wanted to. His only incompletion was... I didn't even see it on here. Doesn't even have it on there. Yeah, PFF doesn't even have him as an incompletion. He did, but it doesn't even have him on the chart here. Fernando Mendoza, absolutely incredible. 94.7, 85.3. Yeah, these are really good grades. I don't normally give these out to FCS team opponents, but A+ for Fernando Mendoza. Fantastic game and everything else. So there you go. There are the QB grades. Kind of went through them a little bit, and definitely pretty casual. Not the most formal podcast, but wanted to do that for you. I know you guys appreciated that last time, so let me know in the comments. Is something you guys want to continue to see? Is there something that I didn't look at in here that you would like for me to look at? Let's just finish by looking at the best PFF graded quarterbacks in the Big Ten. Kind of like a power rankings type of deal. Offense, Athan Kaliakmanis, the number 1 quarterback in the Big Ten according to PFF grades. Fernando Mendoza, Drake Lindsay, Julian Sayin, Malik Washington. Drew Allar, the 3rd worst. Holy cow. And Bryce Underwood, the 5th worst. I mean, that kind of tracks, right? Everybody raving about Bryce Underwood's abilities and his talents, but he's not really showcasing and putting them together. Kind of is what it is at this point. So there you go. There's my Big Ten QB grade graphics, or QB grade for week 3 after Big Ten play. Let me know what you think. You got a different grade for some of these guys. You think PFF was off in some areas, or you just have a question about something you saw in PFF you want me to expand on next time or anything like that. Would love to get your comments, and please do like, subscribe if you're listening on podcasts. I know you didn't see the PFF, but 5-star rating always helps. We appreciate that. If you're listening on podcasts, find this on YouTube, and you can see all the screenshots and everything. And I was live scrolling through it as we were doing it. So thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Have a good one.